There's nothing like preparation when it comes to torrential downpour. Isn't that right?
That's right. You must turn off your gas and electricity and quickly evacuate from areas vulnerable to flash flooding.
What should we do if we are already outside?
Evacuate to a safe place, away from construction sites, underground spaces, and areas prone to frequent flooding. If you're driving, do not stop the car. Instead, slowly drive through the flooded area without stopping.
What should we do once the rain stops?
When going into buildings that have been submerged, do not touch electrical facilities and make sure to ventilate, as there is a risk of gas leakage.
We should also reduce preventable damages and prepare for disasters ahead of time by following safety guidelines.
That is correct. You can receive real-time safety information through the Disaster Safety Information mobile app, 안전 디딤돌.
Thank you for all the great information. Remember, your safety is everyone's safety. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산 영어방송.
지금 방송 광고라는 부메랑을 던져보세요. 소비자를 향해 정확히 날아가는 광고. 힘차게 돌아가는 경제. 부메랑처럼 다시 기업의 이익으로 되돌아오니까요. 방송 광고, 경제에 큰 힘이 됩니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
Did you feel it yesterday? Was it just me? Just like a teeny tiny bit of a break in this blistering summer? Well, I hope it's not my imagination. However, it might be too soon to declare the downturn or the end of summer, especially because the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, the KDC, announced that 13 people have died from heat-related illnesses this year. And well over 2,700 people have made visits to emergency rooms as well this summer. The most troubling thing is that compared to last year, the number of patients has gone up 2.6 times, while the number of deaths has tripled. And the saddest part is that heat-related illnesses are definitely preventable. So the question is this: are we doing enough to protect ourselves? I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Thursday, July 31st on BEFM 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, Wavers. I hope you're all doing well. And can you believe it is indeed, as some of you are pointing out, like Benny, it is the last day of July, the 31st. Wow. Time really flying. And yesterday, as we mentioned repeatedly, was Jungbok, the middle of the 3 dog days of summer. So that means we are at the peak, or at least maybe we can interpret it as we are getting closer to the end. Hopeful thinking, right? Wishful thinking. In the meantime, yes, this blazing heat, as I said in the opening, bad for human casualties and lives and health. But it's been really bad news for the water supply in some parts of the country, too. In Gangneung, for example, some of the city has been under a drought. The city's main source of water, the Obong Reservoir, has been at about 30% rate of water. And that's about half of the usual rate. Public officials have been encouraging residents to conserve water. Even Gangneung City Hall went on a water cutback. This also has ramifications for the tourism industry. The famous Gyeongpo Beach has also been affected with signs up asking beachgoers to limit their showers to under 5 minutes. The feet washing station, that's been shut down as well. The city has also had to postpone a major children's water park event. This is something that many of us really can't imagine happening in South Korea, especially after, that heavy rain that we had in parts of the country just a couple weeks back. But we are in a situation where flood recovery is going on in one part of the country while a different part is experiencing a drought. And summer is definitely a season where we need abundant resources, whether it be power or water, just to stay at a comfortable temperature. But with climate change, these resources are getting more and more scarce, reminding everyone of how precious these resources are. And sometimes we do take them for granted. So let's be better aware, depending on where you are, whether, there is a drought going on or, still recovering from the floods. Let's be better aware and definitely take care of each other so we don't come down with any type of heat illness. Now, let's talk about our text topic. Later on, we're going to talk about cheating. Cheating as in like exam cheating, not, the other cheating. Have you ever cheated in school? Or on some sort of exam. On the other hand, what was like a method that worked best for you when studying or memorizing a lot of information? 자, 나는 학교 다닐 때 컨닝한 적이 있다. It's okay. Today you can confess and we will listen and we will try not to judge. 내가 써본 효과 있는 공부법은 외우는 거 혹은 in terms of exams. What was really effective for you? So let's hear about all your stories. Send them into BFM's live stream, live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform, type in BEFM or Busan 영어 방송, and you can subscribe. You can log in and chat with our other waivers. And from your phone, pound 9050, shop 9050. That's going to cost you 100 won. And you can also reach me for free through Kakao Talk. The good news there is it's free, it's easy to use. You can send in your messages, plus photos too. And the ways you can tune into Morning Wave in Busan, on the radio here in Busan, 90.5 or 103.3 FM, depending on where you are. Like I said, we're streaming live on YouTube in real time. You can watch again at your leisure. Plus, we are available on 2 apps, the BEFM app itself, plus the Papang app. And looking ahead to our Thursday morning together. Yay, it's Thursday. We have Ask Dr. Ryu with Dr. Ryu Sang-hyo. And then we have Buzz Breakdown. Guess who's coming in today? We have Han coming in. She's filling in for Vasana for a few weeks. And then for a special interview, we are going to be talking about sleep. In particular, what science really says about sleep. There are so many, sleep-related myths and legends and stories, and especially the whole idea, do women need more sleep than men? And it's a scientific angle. It's not just like, well, yeah, no, none of that. And plus, we have a similar topic with Dr. Liu, but 2 different takes on this important issue. And we just talked about sleep a couple days back, about how many hours you get, right? So this is a very hot topic these days. I'll be back with News Overview. It's now 7:06 and this is News Overview. Trump to meet South Korean officials for trade talks. U.S. President Donald Trump is set to meet with the South Korean trade delegation and hear their pitch on his tariff plans on Wednesday afternoon local time. Special counsel requests for detention warrant against former President Yoon. The special counsel led by Min Jung-gi has requested a warrant to forcibly bring in former President Yoon Suk-yeol for questioning after his repeated refusal to respond to the counsel's summons. Heat-related deaths reached 13, number of patients near 2,800. The number of heat-related patients that visited the country's emergency rooms yesterday with 1 person dead from suspected heat-related causes. No South Koreans reported injured from 캄chatka earthquake. A magnitude 8.8 earthquake took place some 60 kilometers off the coast of Russia's far east Kamchatka Peninsula Wednesday at 11:24 a.m. local time, marking one of the strongest earthquakes ever reported. U.S. Fed holds interest rates steady despite pressure. The U.S. Federal Reserve announced that it will hold the benchmark interest rate steady between 4.25 and 4.5%, continuing its freezing pattern amid uncertainties from President Donald Trump's tariffs. And this was News Overview. It's time for Now in Busan. We have Sejin in the studio. Let's say hi first. Good morning.
Morning, how are you today?
I'm feeling
Better? No?
better. Lots of vitamins injected, got the IV, the fluids going. I know some people were commenting that I still sound a little nasally. I do apologize, but I feel better. So thank you for asking. We're going to jump into our text topic today about cheating.
That's so nerve-wracking thing to say.
Yes, I mean cheating as in like 컨닝하는 거 얘기하는 거예요. So any experiences? Maybe you witnessed it, or maybe when you were really, really young, you tried it.
Well, I'll be completely honest with you. In elementary school,
Okay.
oh, not elementary, middle school,
Middle school.
and then I am terrible at math. But rather, I would rather good at English.
Okay.
So my friend, who are really good at math, she sat like just before me, and I was behind her.
Okay.
And then we mutually agreed with each other that we are gonna put aside the paper on the right side, and then she just sit right in the margin of the desk,
Okay.
so that I can
Peek.
take
a little peek.
a quick look, and then like the next English
Yes.
subject, then I sit
In front of her?
in front of her, and then I do the same thing, and then she
Really?
cheat in this one. Yeah.
Oh, so it was like a mutual exchange of
Deal.
information
Yeah.
is what we'll call it.
Yeah.
But that was back in the day, right?
Yeah. But what about you? I need to know yours too.
Okay. I know, I've never tried it. I'm too much of a scaredy cat. Like, 들킬까 봐. Like I was like, oh no. I've had friends, like my friends would always be like, hey, let me look at your paper. I'd be like, no. I was one of those kids, one of those annoying goody two shoes. Like, oh no, you do your own work. I was kind of like that. So, yeah, boring story there. But you know what? I have caught students cheating. That's the worst feeling ever. This recent past semester in university, it was an English course, obviously, and I saw her. She had a little piece of paper under the exam, and the saddest part is she was one of my favorite students because she was very, she participated and she did, and then like. There was a little paper, and then I didn't want to embarrass her, so I waited until the end of the exam.
Oh, that's very nice of you.
I know, like when earlier in my career, I would just say, no, you can't do that, and I'd kick them out. But I waited till everybody was done, and then I called her, and she knew right away. She was like, oh my God. She's like, should I kneel? I was like, no, don't kneel. 무릎 꿇고 요즘 그런 시대 아니에요. I was like, no. But I have to give you an F for the exam. She was, I know. I said, okay. So 마음이 아팠어요. But we got to dive into her.
Yeah.
To local news. So we could go on and on. I have so many cheating stories from my students. But and students, by the way, you guys are so smart, but I will catch you anyway. Let's start with our first bit of news, and it's with the massive tunnel in northern Busan. So there's been some buzz about it lately, right?
Yes. Kat, have you ever driven through the Mandok 3 tunnel at night?
Not at night, but I've been through, of course, the Madok Tunnel. Yes.
The people living near the tunnel have been losing sleep. And about 7,000 households near the tunnel have been dealing with late night noise and bright light trespass ever since it opened last year.
Oh my gosh. So that must be really annoying for all those residents. So any fix coming?
Yes, starting this September, the city is finally kicking off a major project to reduce noise and light trespass around the Mandak 3 tunnel.
Well, what exactly are they going to do to fix this? Because I can't imagine like living near that with the noise and the lights. That would be so terrible.
They'll be working on the 309 meters stretch on the Mandak-bound entrance road.
Yes.
The open soundproof proof panels will be replaced with fully shielded ones. And inside the tunnel, they'll apply fire-resistant coating, while outside they're putting on anti-glare film.
I see. So it sounds like a kind of a full-on makeover, but we need to know, what's the price tag on this?
The total cost comes to 3.65 billion won, but they couldn't get it off the ground at first because they were 850 million short. But thankfully,
yes.
they recently secured special funding, so now they're gonna go ahead with a total of 3.65 billion won.
Yes, yes. So when will this be finished?
It's set to begin in September and wrap up by February next year.
Well, you know, the thing is this, they always say better late than never, so that's definitely good. And let's move on to our next topic. I hear Busan has gotten something really unique hitting the road and the water. So what is this?
Yeah, Busan's getting ready to launch its very own amphibious tower bus, 수륙양용버스, early next year.
Oh my gosh, so I've heard about this. It's amphibious, meaning it runs on land and in the sea, right?
Exactly. It will cruise right across the Suyang River and Gwangan-daegu Bridge. And just yesterday, it passed its first test run at the Suyang Bay Yacht Center. Smooth sailing so far.
Okay, so tell us more about this.
Basically, it's a vehicle which can go up to 100 kilometers an hour on land and about 18.5 kilometers per hour on water.
So where will this actually go? What's the route?
The entry and exit point is going to be the Apex Nauru Park, right next to Center Marina Park. So the route kicks off at this park, where it enters the Suyang River, does a 20-minute cruise, then comes back onto land.
Wow.
And from there, it goes across Gwangan-daegu Bridge, along Gwangali Beach Road, and the Suyang Riverside. Total ride takes about 50 minutes.
Oh, 50 minutes. That's longer than I expected. So when can people start, hopping on board?
They'll start trial runs in December for locals and tourists and aim to go full commercial around March next year. They're also building a new underground parking lot with 108 spaces for visitors. And construction starts in September and should be done in about 4 months.
Oh, really? So that's pretty quick. But, we've been hearing about this for a while, actually. There were some setbacks, right?
Yeah, there were some legal hiccups before, but that's all sorted now.
Yes.
All the approvals are going through nicely. They're finalizing fares and routes and getting all vehicle certifications done by November.
Oh, well, that's definitely good news, bringing more tourists to our lovely city. So thanks for telling us about this. All right, next, I hear that Busan has just added 2 additional gardens to the city's official list.
Yeah, the city has just officially registered 2 new private gardens, Ochoryang Garden and the garden at the main Momo스커피 in Kumjong district as private gardens.
Okay.
Private gardens here basically means green spaces created and looked after by individuals, groups or businesses. And the whole point is to bring a bit more nature into the city.
So if I remember, Busan started this last year, this program?
Yeah, last year, the garden at the F1963 Cultural Complex officially became the first registered private gardens in Busan.
So tell us about the Ochoryang Garden. What's this one like?
The Ochoryang Garden in Choryangdong, Donggu sits alongside a 100-year-old Japanese colonial era house and has a really tranquil atmosphere.
Okay.
The name Ochoryang actually comes from combining Choryang with the Korean exclamation O.
Hence the O.
Choryang. Yeah.
That makes sense. Anything special going on there?
Yeah, they host exhibitions, music performances, and lectures on the humanities.
What about the other one, the one at the Momo's Coffee?
The one at Momo Coffee has 2 sections, a bamboo garden and what they call the everyone's garden.
Nice.
It's designed to blend nature with daily life, so both locals and visitors can relax and connect. And Busan City says it plans to keep supporting more of these private gardens going forward.
Yes. So I love this idea, gardens, we need more of them in our city. Indeed. And what about this one? Busan giving out discounts to young people just for visiting, is this correct?
Yes. Yes, it's launching the Busan Youth Resident Population Activation Project.
Oh.
The idea is even if it's hard for young people to settle permanently in Busan, they can still live here temporarily and contribute to local economy and energy.
That's an interesting angle. So how is Busan actually doing this?
The core program that represents this project is called the Busan온나청년패스. As long as they're staying at least one night, it gives discount at 17 tourist spots and local businesses for young people who's not from Busan.
Okay.
Busan says it's the first city in the country to try something like this.
Oh, so we're trailblazers. Well, how much of a discount are we talking about?
The pass will be available from August 19 until the budget runs out. Popular spots like Kizania, the Bay 101 Yacht, Club the Oasis, and the Aquarium will offer discounts of up to 60%. Or 28,800 won.
Ooh, and that's just for turning up and staying like one night overnight.
Yeah, even cafes, bakeries, and restaurants are in on it. Flat 2,001 discount. If you use all 17 partner businesses, you could save as much as around 136 won.
Ooh, so that's quite the deal. How do people sign up for this?
From August 1st, they can apply on the Busan Youth Platform website. All they need is proof of accommodation name and a date.
Yes. So thanks for going over all the local news. We'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Sajin.
No worries.
All right. And before we get into our weather and traffic, apparently there is breaking news. The South Korean delegation has just wrapped up its visit with President Donald Trump. They have exited the White House. That's all the information we have for now. And of course, we'll have more. Haley will bring us more in just a bit. And I'll be back with your traffic and weather.
Good morning. Good morning.
굿모닝입니다.
Good morning.
좋은 아침입니다.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
Major news, local buzz, and expert takes. It's all here on Morning Wave in Busan. Brighten up your morning commute with Morning Wave in Busan.
Morning wave in Busan.
It's time for your traffic report. It looks congested on the Dongso overpass going away from the city near the Jinnyang Pangnam Tunnel right now. Nuno Samsung-daedo also looking very congested from the Myeongji underpass to Shinho Bridge. It's slow moving on Jungwangdaedo from Sojongcheon intersection to Bugok intersection. Right now, other roads are pretty open on account of this being peak vacation season here in Korea. For the weather, it is 26 degrees and sunny. It's going to go up to 32, slightly cooler than yesterday. However, a heat wave impact forecast, 폭염 영향예보, and a heat wave special report, 폭염특보, are in effect. Across the nation, the heat wave continues with some areas going up as high as 37 degrees. Rain is forecast for parts of the capital area, Chungcheong, Gyeongbuk, and Gangwon. This was your traffic and weather. It's now time for top stories. Haley's in the studio with us right now, and we have the latest breaking news regarding those trade negotiations. So let's get to it. Good morning, Haley.
Good morning. So I do have breaking news on this front. The news is coming in, so we are going to have to interrupt our regular programming to bring this to you.
Yes.
So President Donald Trump, U.S. President Donald Trump, just announced that the U.S. has reached a trade negotiation with South Korea. South Korean delegation having just left the White House. So let me give you the numbers first. 15% reciprocal tariff. So this is significant news as the previous tariff rate set was at 25%. It seems that the South Korean delegation has been able to lower this to 15%, which goes in line with most of the other countries that we have been seeing, including Japan and the European Union.
Yes.
In terms of what South Korea is giving in return. Again, this is breaking, but so far we know that President Trump, at least he announced that South Korea has offered a $350 billion investment package to the United States. Details on that will come. But also he announced that South Korea will give $100 billion for American LNG, so that's liquefied natural gas in terms of its imports. What we will be importing, South Korea will be, let me correct that, South Korea will be importing $100 billion worth of American liquefied natural liquefied gas.
Yes.
And we are also getting breaking news as it is coming. South Korea has apparently agreed to open the automobile, truck, and agricultural market, quote, completely. But that's, again, according to President Trump. So we will have to hear both sides to give you a more fuller picture on that.
Yes.
But in terms of who was involved in the trade talks, so Finance Minister Gu Yun-chul, the Trade, Industry, and Energy Minister Kim Jong-kwan, and South Korea's top trade representative Yo Han-gu all visited the White House at 4:30 p.m. after Wednesday afternoon local time.
Yes.
This was after President wrote on his Truth social media page that he will be meeting with the delegation Wednesday afternoon and that he was interested in hear what South Korea has to offer to, quote, buy down the tariff raise. So that's been sort of the blatant wording that the White House has been using. So for now, this is what we have.
All right. So are we going to move on to our next story?
Well, let me just kind of continue on because on the top, of course, the main thread is the trade talks going on in official capacity.
Yes.
Oh, and I do want to add in that President Trump he announced that he will meet with South Korean President Lee Jae-myung for a summit at the White House in 2 weeks. In the meantime, South Korean business leaders have been in Washington, D.C. as well.
Yes.
So yesterday reported that Samsung Electronics chairman Lee Jae-yong arrived in Washington, D.C. He joined Hanwha Group's vice chairman Kim Dong-kwan and also the final piece, Hyundai Motors chairman Jung Hee-sun, all in Washington, D.C. So they represent the semiconductor, shipbuilding, and automobile industries respectively.
Right.
So these are top industries that would have been impacted very heavily by the tariffs.
Yes.
So because this deal affects their respective companies, the leaders are said to have joined this delegation on a voluntary basis.
Right.
So they're seeking to sign large-scale supply deals with American companies and use their respective local networks to support the ongoing trade talks.
Yes, indeed. So thanks for giving us the breaking news details. And of course, we'll have further details as they emerge. Next, we're going to talk about one of the most contentious bills at the National Assembly right now. It's the yellow envelope bill, which is awaiting passage.
Right, and most likely it will pass for good this time. So this yellow envelope bill, 노란봉투법, it's the revisions. The bill widens the definition of what employers are, strengthening the responsibilities of main contractors, 원청, to subcontracted laborers, 하청 노동자.
Right.
And it restricts the scope of damages claims that they may file against labor unions or workers. So the Democratic Party says that this will create a healthy labor management relationship. However, the PPP, the People Power Party, is of the position that it blocks the rights for companies to file for damages against illegal strikes, which then their position is it encourages indefinite strikes. So the bill has actually passed the parliament on 2 separate occasions. However, both times they were vetoed by former President Yoon Suk-yeol. But of course, big change with the Democratic president at the helm. It is almost certainly going to pass.
Yes, and there are, though, different individuals and entities that have their own opinions. They've weighed in on this.
Right, so we're actually going to move away from the complete domestic realm and look at the American and the European Chambers of Commerce in Korea. So the American Chamber of Commerce in Korea, AmCham, they issued a press release yesterday expressing concerns. They're concerned about the negative effects the bill may have on the Korean business environment and investment attractiveness for Korea overall.
Yes.
So it also opposed the bill last year when it was first introduced and passed, saying that risks from regulation, this protection on subcontractors and legal responsibility against business leaders who don't respond to collective bargaining, that can increase the operational and legal burdens of doing business in South Korea.
Sure.
This also follows a statement from the European Chamber of Commerce in Korea, the ECCK, earlier this week. It actually issued an even more strongly worded opposition, saying that given these vulnerabilities that foreign capital investment firms may face. These legal risks, including may face criminal prosecution for failure to respond to uncertain bargaining, then the firms could, quote, pull out from South Korea.
I see. So that is their take on it. And next up, I want to do a bit of fact-checking surrounding these rumors about inheritance tax on 500,000 won deposits, like between family members.
Right.
What is this?
Right. So if my mom sends me 50만 원, she's gonna, or I'm gonna have to pay 상속세. I'm like, if I'm getting an inheritance, it better be more than 50만 원. But that's what some YouTube shorts and other short form videos are saying. That from August, if you wire just 500,000 won, 50만 원 between family members, the National Tax Service, the NTS, will get wind of this using their AI system and slap an inheritance tax on you. This is according to some economic or financial influencers or accountants posting this via their personal social media, as if it were true. They also argue, and this is the argument, we're going to fact check this, if you send your parent or children 1 million won per month for 10 years, like as 생활비 for living costs, you'll have to pay at least 10 million won in inheritance tax. And I know you have adult children that you at least partially support for college. Many of our listeners do. So they're justifying this with this reason that since the government is in a budget deficit, it needs to collect taxes.
Please say it's false.
It's false.
Okay.
Of course it's false. Like it's just, and I'm quoting the NTS, that's just common nonsensical. It just goes against common sense.
Yes.
As I'm making nonsense. All right. So the NTS, 국세청, has no plans to implement a new system that looks at, this is key, regular small amount transactions between individuals. So even with giving family member pocket money or living costs in, again, small amounts, they say it's no problem. It's like parents giving money to their college-age children or grandparents giving money to their grandkids.
Yes.
First off, why is this not realistic? They don't have the resources. They don't have the administrative, who's going to comb through these small transactions.
Right.
Again, and it says it goes against social convention and common sense.
But I want to know. Is there reasoning why these rumors started circulating in the first place?
Right, so it just didn't come out of left field. There may have been a misinterpretation because the new chief of the National Tax Service, in his appointment, in his inaugural speech, mentioned this AI taxation discovery system, as a form of a reform to catch tax evaders. But again, this is for people who have given cause to fishy financial records, fishy taxation records. So the NTS says that the role of the organization is to look into irregular, non-commonsensical transactions for both individuals and companies. So even the tax authorities cannot just look into your bank account without cause. So if you don't have anything to worry about, then you don't have anything to worry about is basically the key.
Got it.
But then that threshold of common sense and regular.
Right.
Whose common sense are we talking?
Exactly.
So this may be, according to experts, so please keep in mind this isn't the official position, 10 million won in one day. 10 million won, 1,000만 원 withdrawal from a bank or any other financial institution one day. That might subject you to further analysis. So it might kind of ping the authorities, but they'll look at it. If it seems regular, maybe you bought a car, then it's fine. So again, keep that in mind.
All right. So thanks for clarifying because we don't want misinformation out there. So obviously, news overview, I mentioned one of the strongest earthquakes ever recorded. This happened in Russia's Far East, Kamchatka Peninsula. So we need details on this.
Right. So let's go through that. A massive magnitude 8.8 earthquake struck off of Russia's far eastern coast. This is actually 8.8, tied for the sixth strongest ever earthquake recorded. Actually, we heard earlier today there was another magnitude 6.4 earthquake around the coast of Kamchatka as well.
Yes.
Not quite sure if this would be considered an aftershock or a separate earthquake, but several people were injured without giving a figure so far. In Japan, at least one person was injured.
Right.
And it's not just the land quakes, but the tsunami waves, which hit Russia and Japan, and then the U.S. western states states of Hawaii, California, Oregon, Washington, and Alaska. So Kamchatka saw a tsunami wave of up to 4 meters, and Japan about 60 centimeters in Hokkaido. In other countries around the Pacific, they saw tsunami warnings and watches. Especially, it was a fearful moment for Japan, as any tsunami really evokes that 2011 earthquake with so in any case 2 million people were evacuated in Japan this time. However, a little bit of good news, no abnormalities were noted from Japan's nuclear plants. Another further good news, the tsunami warnings have been downgraded to advisory in Japan and lifted in Hawaii. However, authorities are saying that the waves are persistent and advising caution to anyone in affected areas.
Yes, indeed. So that is definitely a huge earthquake. In the last week or so, recognizing the Palestinian state, because technically it's not a country.
It's not a country,
a state.
right.
Well, this has become a major issue, so we need to get into the details of this.
Right. So what does recognizing a Palestinian state mean, or what may it mean? Well, it began with France last week, which said it would officially recognize a Palestinian state at the United Nations General Assembly, or UNGA, in September. First G7 country to say so.
Yes.
And then following this, more recently, a British Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, said that the UK will also recognize the Palestinian state. However, he had a condition, unless Israel takes a substantive step to end the appalling situation in Gaza, including agreeing to a ceasefire, coming to a two-state solution, and letting the UN supply aid to Gaza.
Right. So the question is this: what does recognizing of Palestine as a state, what does it mean?
Right. Again, starting with the backdrop that Palestine is not a state. It's not a country, at least recognized by the United Nations. Interestingly, 147 member nations do recognize the Palestinian state, including Russia, China, and India. However, because the United States, big ally of Israel, does not recognize it, and it has veto powers at the Security Council, in any official capacity, this is kind of a far-off goal. But a state, so what is a 국가? A state under international law has to have a permanent population. And this is key. Defined territory, and that goes to the Israeli occupation of the West Bank and other territories, unaffected government with international relations, and former diplomatic processes, including embassies. So again, that bit on the defined territory is crucial because Israel's creation and expansion of settlements in the occupied West Bank, actually that is illegal under international law.
Yes, and this goes to the longer-term goal of a two-state solution.
Right, because that territory where Israel and Palestine is located, it's often referred to as the Holy Land, important for actually many religions, including Judaism, Islam, and even Christianity. So the initial vision, when it was always to have this two-state solution as Jewish and Arab states, that was never implemented. This is a widely accepted solution in the international community, but as they say, the devil is in the details, including where the boundaries would be drawn and how it would be implemented.
Yes, and also breaking news even on this with Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, following similar moves by France and the UK to recognize Palestine as a state as well. So that's the latest on that. So we're going to call it a wrap up for top stories. Of course, we'll join with Haley will be back in hour number 2 for Waglwagle. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So as Haley just reported in breaking news, in terms of what's happening with the tariffs, so we're talking about it being announced formally, at least by Trump's side, the U.S. side, that it's a 15% tariff with $350 billion investment in the U.S. So 3,500억 투자 조건이고요. And according to Trump, American products should be exempt from tariffs in the South Korean market. So in 2 weeks, there will also be a summit, a bilateral meeting between Korean President Lee Jae-myung and we have with U.S. President Donald Trump. That's the latest. That's going to be in 2 weeks. And we'll have further details in a bit. This is I Do by Rain.
서로를 느껴가면서 조금씩 서로 알아가면서 언젠간 우리 어쩌면 둘이 아두 친구들 앞에서 우리가 친구 사이를 넘어서 둘이 영원히 함께 하기로 했다면 아두 And I wanna know 나만 이렇게 느낀 거냐고 아님 네 맘도 내 마음처럼 영원히 함께 할 꿈을 꾸는지 아두 영원히 함께 하겠다는 건 말 아두 너와 있을 때마다 조심스럽게 마음속으로 I do Wanna spend my life with you 꿈을 꾸며 I do 소중한 그 맹세를 할 때 내 곁에 내가 내 곁에 네가 있기를 손을 잡고 걸어가면서 서로에게 발을 맞춰보면서 영원히 함께 갈 수 있는지 느껴봐 And I need to know 나만 이렇게 느낀 거냐고 아님 너도 내 마음처럼 영원히 함께 할 꿈을 꾸는지 yeah. I do 영원히 함께 하겠다는 말 I do 너와 있을 때마다 조심스럽게 나의 마음속으로 Wanna spend my life with you So baby it's you 내 곁에 네가 이제 시작한 우리 사랑 아직은 모든 게 이르지만 그래도 나도 모르게 자꾸 꾸는 꿈 I do 그래도 나도 모르게 자꾸 꾸는 꿈 I do Oh yeah Oh I do
It is time for Ask a Doctor Do. That means the doctor is in. He's in the studio right now. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, well, I couldn't say this one, but it's really exciting and always rejuvenating this studio it gives me.
Aww, we love when you come in, so it's mutual, the feelings.
Okay.
Yes, but I'm so curious.
Okay.
Have you ever cheated?
Yes.
In school?
Yes.
Okay. I don't want to hear the personal stories. Okay.
Okay.
In school. Okay.
When I was in middle school,
yes,
the entire class participated in this kind of a cheating scheme during the exam.
Really?
Yes.
The whole class?
The whole class. At the time, the questions were multiple choice.
Okay.
And the four answers out of options for each. The rule at the time was once you finish the test, you get to leave the exam room early.
Okay.
So before the exam began, we made a plan. And then we selected 5 students who were really good at studying.
Okay.
And then their job was to, solve the test questions quickly and leave the room first.
Okay.
And then we devised a specific code using the way they carry their bags.
The way they carry their bags?
Yes.
Okay.
If a student carried their bag on the right shoulder,
Okay, 오른쪽 어깨.
yeah, when they left, and the answer to that question they were assigned was number 1. And if they carry their bag on their left shoulder,
Left shoulder.
and the answer might be number 2.
Oh my gosh, this was like really, really thought out.
Yeah.
정말 계획적이었네요.
Yeah, if they carry their bag down by their right side, the answer number 3.
Oh my God. 1번, 2번, 3번.
4번. Yeah, that's
4번.
right.
What, did it work?
Yeah, it really worked. So
And you guys never got caught?
we didn't get caught. We didn't get caught, but and after that, all those kind of students who were really good at studying, they refused to take participating in this kind of a sophisticated scheme.
Right.
Yeah. After that, anyhow, that was the very memorable scheme.
It was like the whole class. Wow, that was
Yeah.
very elaborate.
Yes. And since then, I had a great vision at the time. I didn't wear glasses at the time, so I could see some other friends' answers. But I didn't. But since I got to study really well, so I tried not to rely on their answers. So I try to believe in myself.
Yes, that is the best. Believe in yourself, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing your elaborate cheating scheme with all of your waivers, Dr. Liu. Now we're going to get into our topic. What are we talking about today?
Okay, I'm going to talk about sleep.
That's right.
Sleep deprivation.
And this is something like that hits everyone. Students. You even talked about off air about sleep issues, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sleep is one of my specialties because neurology here in Korea, one of the specific specialties is sleep medicine. And then today I'm going to focus on sleep deprivation.
Okay.
And then when you are sleep deprived, you might suffer from all kinds of health issues, like your immune system might be affected and also your mood as well. And so, especially these days, younger generations are suffering from sleep deprivation because of smartphone.
Yeah, everybody's scrolling, especially right before they go to bed, right?
Yeah, I have to confess that I was one of those kind of students or those suffering from sleep deprivation because I do scroll down.
Everybody does the doom scrolling, right? And in Korean, how would we say sleep deprivation? 수면 부족?
수면 부족.
Okay.
수면 부족.
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
That's right. Yeah. So here are some warning signs of sleep deprivation. Is you fall asleep right after the moment you head hits the pillow.
Okay.
And then another warning sign is you need an alarm to wake up. And also you feel really groggy during the day.
Okay.
And then during the day, you might experience like zoning out or catching yourself micro-napping for a second. So this... And also, you might need some caffeine drinks for get through the day.
Yes.
So those are the warning signs.
And you mentioned something like the micro napping. To me, that sounds kind of dangerous. What if you're like driving or something?
That's right. Studies have shown that if you are sleep deprived more than 18 or 24 hours, it might impact your memory and coordination functions. So it's like driving your car under the influence.
That's really dangerous, like drowsy driving. And studies I've heard saying that like it's so dangerous. It's like as bad or sometimes even worse than drunk driving.
That's right. So I'm going to give you some questionnaires whether you are sleep deprived or not.
Okay.
Okay. If you say more than two out of 4 questions, you might have some sleep issues.
Okay.
The first one is, do you feel rested when you wake up?
Yes or no? The listeners out there, waivers. So ask yourself, do you feel rested?
Yes. And also, are you sleepy during meeting or during classes?
But during class, isn't everybody always sleeping? I'm just kidding. No. Okay. Meetings or class. Are you sleepy?
Yeah, and also, do you need caffeine to get through the day or some other energy drinks?
Yes, okay.
And the fourth one is your weekend sleep much longer than your sleep during weeks?
Oh, those are some good questions. Because everybody always says like, oh, Kat, you need more sleep, But, I actually, like during the weekends, I wake up at the same time. It's just like, it's at my biorhythm, like my clock. And then like this morning, I woke up without an alarm. But, people assume because I only get maybe, 4 or 5 hours, like they're like always like, oh, you're so sleep deprived. But I'm okay. I'm functioning okay. Like I feel okay.
Well, as a doctor,
Yes.
I would say your biological clock and your mental and your sleeping habits is really perfect, in tip-top shape.
Oh, even though I'm not getting it, like hour-wise, it's not a long time, right?
Yeah, that's
'Cause
right.
people say like 7-8 hours is good, but I could never sleep 7 or 8 hours.
And also, you mentioned really strong, very important points.
Okay.
Because you wake up even at the same time during weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, which means that you're really healthy.
Oh, okay. That's good, right?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say later this show.
Okay.
So if you say yes to more than 2 questions out of 4 of the questioners, you might have some sleep issues. So I would say yes, all of those 4 questions, because I'm pretty much sleep deprived. Yes, I've tried all kinds of sleeping pills. But after that, I realized that sleeping pills don't give me any kind of satisfaction when I wake up the next morning. I don't feel refreshed at all.
Do you kind of feel maybe like groggy?
And I feel a little, how can I say, a little bitterness and uncomfortable mood. The feeling
It's not good.
It's not good.
I see. But I also want to touch upon real quick before we get into some of the other stuff. If you have lack of sleep, 수면이 부족하면요, that affects like immune system. It affects many different things, right?
That's right. Your immune system might be compromised.
Okay.
Sleep is really important, and also metabolism.
Right.
If you're sleep deprived, the chances you're getting obese is really increasing.
Sure.
Yeah, and also if you're sleep deprived, your mood might be down or a little bit irritable. It's irritable easily, so it increases your blood pressure.
Yes.
And then in turn, the chances of heart attack or some other strokes are increasing. And also, mental issues might be affected, like anxiety and irritability as well. And also skin.
피부.
Yeah, 피부. If you were to have a really nice skin, very smooth skin complexion, you gotta sleep a lot, because sleeping beauty is totally scientifically proven.
Sleeping beauty. We all need to be sleeping beauties. So, in terms of the myth busters, I mean, there are so many myths surrounding sleep. So, we can't go through all of them, but we want to get through the main ones. So, how about this? I've heard this, like, a drink before bed helps you sleep, meaning some sort of like alcoholic drink.
Yeah, alcohol is actually a medicine. Well, it can make you sleep really fast at first, but it disrupts your normal sleep sleep structure. So it shortens the duration of your sleep, and it destroys your sleep quality. So the next day you feel really groggy after drinking, and then also the more you rely on drinking alcohol just for your sleep, those habits might destroy your nerve cells. So there's a saying that here in Korea, you get drenched after getting exposed to your kind of drizzling shower.
Sure.
Yes, 가랑비에 옷 젖는다는 말이 있듯이. Yeah, so your brain cells might be damaged over time. So it's a really bad habit you have to avoid.
What about this one? Loud snoring. It's okay. It's harmless. Because I there are people in my family who snore. Is that okay?
It's okay, but it might be an early sign of sleep apnea.
Yes.
Yeah, so if snoring, the reason why we snore is our air pipe might be a little partially blocked. So it's like an instrument when you blow some kind of a flute or some other stuff. And then the reason they make sound is they vibrate. But if the loud snoring interrupted by kind of gasping or choking, and then it's really worth getting checked. It might be an early sign of a sleep apnea. And if you're suffering from sleep apnea, the chances of getting high blood pressure and diabetes and stroke can happen. And also sudden cardiac arrest has to do with sleep apnea.
Wow. Okay, so not good. Well, we do need, in the few seconds that we have left, to go over the main sleep recipe to kind of wind down after a long day. What do we need to do?
Okay, Catherine, you mentioned earlier consistency is the key.
Okay.
Your biological clock is really, really healthy.
Okay.
So even during week and during weekends, I want you to go to bed at about the same time and get out of the bed at about the same time.
Sure.
Consistency matters. And also, if you were to take a nap and then try to limit under 30 minutes.
Okay.
Because if you take a nap more than 30 minutes, it might affect your sleep at night.
Yes.
And also avoid stimulants, especially caffeine and energy drinks after 2 p.m.
Got it.
Because that lingers your body system more than 8 or 10 hours. So, and I mean, the rule of thumb is consistency.
All right. Well, we're going to have to call it a wrap because we had the breaking news earlier. So I do apologize. Well, we will definitely check in with you next week. So thank you so much, Dr. Liu.
Thank you.
All right. This was Ask Dr. Liu, and we will, of course, check in with him next week. For our final song for hour number 1, this is Daydreamin' by Ariana Grande. I'll be back at 8.
You walked in, caught my attention. I've never seen a man with so much dimension. It's the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you make me feel inside. It's in your smile, it's in your eyes. I don't wanna wait for tonight. So I'm daydreaming with my chin in the palm of my hands about you, and only you got me daydreaming with my chin in the palm of my
지난 3년 평균 약 9만 명. 특히 어린이 보호구역 안전 기준이 강화된 이후에도 어린이 보호구역 내 사고는 지속적으로 발생하고 있습니다. 스쿨존에서는 반드시 시속 30km 이하 서행, 스쿨존 내 불법 주정차 금지, 차량 출발 전 앞뒤 좌우 살피는 습관으로 어린이가 안전한 도시를 만듭니다. 참, 운전 중 휴대전화 사용은 모두에게 위험합니다. 우리 모두를 위한 교통안전, 나부터 실천하면 모두가 안전해집니다. 어린이가 안전하게 뛰어놀 수 있는 부산. 아이 키우기 좋은 도시는 우리 모두의 미래이자 희망입니다. 이 캠페인은 어린이가 안전한 부산을 만드는 은행, BNK 부산은행과 함께합니다.
It's time for the Water Activities Safety Quiz Show with me, Mike.
And me, Jessie.
Now, here is the question. On safely enjoying water activities, listen carefully and guess the right answer.
Okay.
From the following water safety measures, guess which one is correct. Number 1, always warm up before swimming or going in the water. Number 2, enter the water slowly and wear a life jacket. Number 3, never go beyond the designated swimming area. Number 4, call 119 or a lifeguard on duty if you witness drowning.
뭐지? 1번도 맞고 2번도 맞는 것 같은데.
Time is running out.
The answer is all of the above.
That is correct. All of these options are important in order to safely enjoy water activities.
If you keep them in mind, you're bound to have a great and safe summer.
Stay with BEFM this summer for a responsible beach season.
Want to be a friend of BFM Busan 영어 방송? You can chat with BFM through our Kakao Talk service. You can share your messages and photos through Kakao Talk, and you can easily become BFM's Kakao friend by searching BFM through the Find a Friend option. Come share and chat with us at BFM anytime, anywhere for free. Don't forget to add BFM Busan 영어 방송 to your Kakao friends list.
Man, I haven't got a chance. I call him.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
It's now 8 o'clock. This is hour number 2 of Morning Wave in Busan, and we begin with Spotlight News. In breaking news, South Korea reaches trade deal with the U.S. U.S. President Donald Trump said that the South Korean delegation has reached a trade deal with the U.S., lowering the reciprocal tariffs to 15% from the initial 25%. The announcement comes after a meeting with Finance Minister Gu Yun-chul, Trade Minister Kim Jong-wan, and top trade negotiator Yo Han-gu at the White House, where Trump announced that South Korea would invest $350 billion in U.S. industries and completely open the automobile, truck, and agricultural markets to the U.S., and that American products will face no tariffs in the South Korean market. Trump also announced that he will meet with President Lee Jae-myung for a summit at the White House in 2 weeks. Special counsel request for detention warrant against former President Yoon. The special counsel led by Min Jung-gi has requested a warrant to forcibly bring in former President Yoon Suk-yeol for questioning after his repeated refusal to respond to the counsel's summons. Former President Yoon did not show up to the special counsel's questioning for the second time yesterday without giving any reason. This is the second time that the authorities have filed a detention warrant against the former president. The Min Jung-gi special counsel is investigating Yoon in the election meddling case involving political broker Myung Tae-yoon and former First Lady Kim Gun-hee. Heat-related deaths reached 13, number of patients near 2,800. The number of heat-related patients that visited the country's emergency rooms as of yesterday came to 126, with one person dead from suspected heat-related causes in Incheon. The Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, KDCA, reported a total of 2,768 heat-related patients this year, which is about 2.6 times the figure from the same period last year. The number of deaths this year has reached 13. Seniors 65 or older accounted for almost a third of the total cases, with nearly a third of the cases happening at outdoor work sites. No South Korean nationals damages reported from 캄chatka earthquake. The South Korean Foreign Ministry said that no South Korean citizens were harmed in the magnitude 8.8 earthquake off of Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula. A magnitude 8.8 earthquake took place some 60 kilometers off the coast of Russia's Far East Kamchatka Peninsula Wednesday at 11:24 a.m. local time, with another 6.4 earthquake reported 341 kilometers south of the peninsula later in the day. No substantial damages have been reported so far, with evacuation orders issued on the peninsula and tsunami warnings to Japan, Hawaii, and the U.S. West Coast. Tsunami warnings have been downgraded across these areas. U.S. Fed holds interest rates steady despite pressure. The U.S. Federal Reserve announced that it will hold the benchmark interest rate steady between 4.25 and 4.5%, continuing its freezing pattern amid uncertainties from President Donald Trump's tariffs. President Trump has repeatedly criticized Fed Chair Jerome Powell for not lowering tariffs, as well as the cost of renovated Fed office buildings. Powell said that Trump's attacks have not affected his and the organization's decision-making process, saying that he is focused on just doing his job. And this was Spotlight News. All right, everybody, before we dive into wa글와글, we're going to get an update on that breaking story regarding the tariffs. And of course, Haley's here with us right now. Haley?
Yes, good morning. So I have breaking news from the South Korean side regarding the tariff deal that was just reached at the White House. And we'll get to President Trump's statements in a bit, too. However, we are hearing from President Lee Jae-myung, who said the trade deal removes uncertainties for South Korea's export environment.
Yes.
And that the tariffs are generally lower or on the same level as South Korea's major export competitors. So currently the presidential office is briefing the press on the situation. So what we have so far is that the government worked under the principle of protecting the national interest despite the short time given to the administration since it took office. But what it said is most notable factor from the tariff deal was expanding cooperation with the shipbuilding industry, that's Chosan업, and that we can expect synergy in this field in the future. Because, as we said in our number one, South Korea pledged $350 billion of investment to U.S. industries. But according to South Korea, $150 billion will be to a fund for cooperation in the shipbuilding industry. So that, Seoul says, will support South Korean shipbuilding companies to expand their business and open new markets into the United States. The official also said that the fund will solidify the foundation for cooperation in other strategic industries. And we also have major news in specific category by category tariffs. The South Korean delegation managed to lower the automobile tariff, 자동차 관세, to 15%. And we're also getting breaking news that there won't be additional market openings in the fields of rice and beef, which has been the red line for South Korea.
Right. Okay, so that's from the Korean side. But there was a full statement from U.S. President Donald Trump on Truth Social, correct?
Right. So again, I'm citing President Trump on his social media page, who said he's pleased to announce that the USA has agreed to a full and complete trade deal with the Republic of Korea. Again, mentioning the $350 billion investment fund that he has selected himself as president. South Korea will also purchase $100 billion of LNG, of other energy products, and invest a large sum of money for their, meaning South Korea's, investment purposes. So in terms of the details, Trump says that this sum will be announced within the next 2 weeks when President Lee Jae-myung of South Korea will come to the White House for a bilateral meeting.
Yes.
He also took time here to congratulate the new president on his election victory. And again, he said that South Korea will be completely open to trade with the United States and that the country will accept American products, including cars and trucks and agriculture. But we are getting more detail on that. Again, that complete opening, at least not including beef and rice. So the message ended fairly cordially, thanking the trade representatives who came forward today and saying that it was an honor to meet them and talk about the great success of their South Korea. So yeah, that's what we have in terms of the tariffs so far. A lot more coming as they come in, and probably tomorrow.
Yes. So thank you for breaking down all the details. I know it was very fast coming this morning.
Can I go home? I just.
After a program. Okay. Now we have some waggly issues. This story captured the attention of many people. A South Korean national who has what they call euphemistically a U.S. green card, 영주권, has apparently been apprehended by the U.S. authorities.
Right. So a permanent resident being questioned and detained by the immigration authorities. So according to the National Korean American Service Education Consortium, one Korean American scientist has been detained for several days by the immigration authorities. So according to the group, this individual is 40-year-old Kim Tae-hung, who came to the U.S. when he was 5. His parents are actually U.S. citizens. He's a PhD student at A&M University researching Lyme disease vaccination. So he was in South Korea earlier this month to attend his brother's wedding. However, when he was returning to the U.S., he was apprehended without an apparent reason, according to his legal counsel. So the attorney says that authorities have not yet said why they detained him and that they're also not allowing him to speak to his family or his attorney, with the exception of a brief phone call to his mother on the 25th.
So we need the other side. What have the authorities said about this?
Right. So it does seem that Kim has a little bit of history. He was indicted for marijuana possession back in 2011, a small amount, but he was ordered to do community service, which he completed. So that's the history. But according to the Customs and Border Protection spokesperson via a Washington Post report, he said that if a green card holder is found guilty of, quote, drug-related crimes, then he or she receives a notice to appear, and the Border Patrol and the ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, will establish, quote, a detention space with the enforcement and removal operations. So basically, if you have a drug-related history, you can get detained. The newspaper also pointed out that the Trump administration's crackdown on immigration is sweeping legal immigrants with valid visas or green cards, permanent residency, with minor criminal history or even no criminal history. So this minor criminal history might be this particular case. So this individual, Kim's mother, who is a U.S. citizen again, said that she and her husband immigrated to the U.S. believing that this was a country of freedom and equality, and said that one should not be detained and treated unfairly because of past mistakes or because they are not a U.S. citizen. Kim's attorney said that the immigration authorities violated the Constitution in refusing him to meet with his attorney. And an official from the coalition that I mentioned before said that the current immigration crackdown is in illegal free-for-all or 무법지대.
So the first story we have of a Korean person, national with a green card once again, being detained. All right, next, a group of Chinese nationals were found attempting to take someone else's Korean language exam for them? Is this
right? So that's our next story tied to our text topic.
Oh, cheating.
Yeah, cheating. So I'm them because you never got to ask me, and I never got to self-incriminate myself on air.
Okay.
I was in kindergarten.
Kindergarten.
I know. Okay. Spelling American English, failed that English spelling test. I just couldn't for the life of me remember which direction J was. Like the hook. Is that to the left or to the right? So 6-year-old me wrote that on the desk. The J.
The J.
The singular J. I don't know. I just don't know.
It's a very common thing though.
Is it really?
The B and the D and then the J.
The B and the D I got for some reason. The J,
you would
the tail
be
of the
surprised.
J was something.
Okay.
Anyway, so now that I've done that, let's go to the actual news.
Yes.
So according to the police, a Chinese woman in her 30s was caught at the test of proficiency in Korean, the TOPIK exam, administered at Sungsil University in Seoul on July 13th. So she had allegedly a forged alien registration card. 위조된 외국인등록증. She was arrested on site. The police also caught similar cases on the same day at Hansong and Inje universities. All of them had fake IDs. And here's the catch. They say the same date issued plus the same regional immigration office. So that raises questions. The police also caught evidence going back to the first case at Sungsil University of the suspect having allegedly communicated with the test broker who helped her allegedly take the exam for someone else. So this exam, the TOPIK, is given by the Education Ministry and it's used for a variety of things, including university admissions and 'tis the season, job applications and visas. So given all the circumstantial evidence, the police are looking into whether there was an organized system behind these cases.
You mentioned Inje. My daughter actually took her exam there. When she was in line, because we were waiting outside the glass windows, we were peering in, the ID check was very stringent.
Right.
They looked at her at least 20 times.
Yeah. I mean,
and then now we know why.
This country takes exams seriously.
Very seriously. All right. Yesterday, we reported on that shooting in Manhattan. The gunman had a note on him that claims that he has what is called CTE. And the building he opened fire on was home to the NFL offices, the National Football League in the States. So this has been a long controversy between American football and this brain disease. So let's talk about this.
Right. So the suspect who shot and killed 4 people in a New York City skyscraper, also he died himself. He left a note claiming that he had CTE. And again, he fatally shot himself, and he asked in the note for his brain to be looked at. So this is a degenerative brain disease, but it is often associated with football players.
Right.
So then this begs the question. He was not an NFL player, but he did play football.
Okay.
So the suspect, Shane Tamura, played football in high school in California. He was a running back. And according to a local newspaper, quite good. According to this article.
Okay.
The note said, again, it requested that his brain be studied for CTE and also blamed the NFL, National Football League, for concealing dangers of the sport to the brain.
Okay.
The police also believe that he actually took the wrong elevator and that he may have been headed for the NFL offices located in the same building.
Well, we need to find out. Is there a correlation between CTE and football where there's a lot of head trauma?
All right, so let's first figure out what CTE is. Again, a degenerative brain disease, but it involves buildup of abnormal proteins, often leading to violent mood swings, suicidal thoughts, dementia, and other negative effects. It has been associated with athletes that are involved in full contact sports, including tackling. Football is definitely one, which lead to frequent concussions and shocks to the head. So there are different research. There's different research going on. For one, Boston University researchers said 2 years ago that they had posthumously, so after death, diagnosed 345 former NFL players with this disease.
Right.
This was a major story in the U.S. The problem is the official diagnosis comes posthumously. So you do have to have a full autopsy of the brain. So they can't really conclusively diagnose this in a living patient.
Yes.
Another recently published study from Harvard, which studied almost 2,000 retired professional football players who played between the 60s and 2020, found that a third of them believed, again, not officially diagnosed, but believed they had CTE. A lot of the players reported suicidal thoughts and a diagnosis of Alzheimer's or other forms of dementia.
Yes.
So former players, of course, we're not excusing this behavior in any shape or form. But former players and advocacy groups have criticized the NFL for the role that it has played in allegedly suppressing research for CTE.
Right. And I was so curious. I had to look up the word. What does it stand for? It stands for chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Hence, we call it CTE.
Yes.
Because it means chronic, 계속되는 trauma, and then the head.
So concussions, head shocks.
Yes. Well, thank you for going over all the breaking news today. Applause for Haley, plus the Woggly news, and we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you.
Have a great day.
All right. Now, here's your updated traffic and weather. It's time for your updated traffic. Gwanmun-daedo right now looks congested from Sujong Tunnel to Pier number 5. Also, there's some construction from Baegang Tunnel to right before the Shinmora intersection, so that means 2 lanes are closed off. That's causing some backup. It's looking slow on the Dongso overpass from Hakjang Ramp to Chudae Ramp. As for the weather, it's currently 27 degrees Celsius. It's sunny. It's going to go up to 32 today. A heat wave impact forecast, 폭염 영향예보, and a heat wave special report, 폭염특보, are in effect. In other parts of the country, heat wave. It's going to be hot. Some areas going up as high as 37 degrees. Rain is forecast for parts of the capital area, Chungcheong, Gyeongbuk, and Gangwon. This was your updated traffic and weather. It's time for a special interview. All right, waivers, sleep. Sleep is such a hot topic these days, especially this week. We all know that getting enough sleep, and not just any sleep, but good quality sleep, is essential. But in reality, sleep needs can vary a lot from person to person. Interestingly, recent research shows that women tend to sleep about 20 minutes longer than men and experience deeper sleep overall. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, women feel very well rested. In fact, studies suggest that many women struggle with sleep quality due to a mix of biological and social factors. To better understand the science behind this, we're going to speak to an expert in the field, Dr. Amelia Scott, who's a clinical psychologist and postdoctoral research fellow at Macquarie University. Hi, thanks for joining us.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so first up, what do we know about why women tend to sleep a little longer and maybe get deeper sleep than men? So has this been proven conclusively?
So we definitely have enough data to show us that women do seem to be getting a little bit more and potentially better quality. We don't know exactly why, and there's probably a couple of reasons that might differ from person to person.
Okay.
So one potential could be hormones. It could be that estrogen and progesterone, which are kind of female-specific ovarian hormones, they seem to be associated with more sleep and more deep sleep. And we see that at periods, say, for example, in the menstrual cycle, when those hormones rise, we often see that women are sleeping a bit more and getting a bit more deep sleep. Another potential is there are some kind of subtle differences in the way women's brains are shaped or the size of certain regions. And some of those areas seem to be associated with more deep sleep and more sleep. But I think there can also be some lifestyle reasons. So women are much more likely to have fragmented sleep overnight, especially when they've got young children or they're caring for elderly parents who might wake at night for care. And often if we do have more interruptions to our sleep, so more wakings overnight, we often need a little bit more sleep to compensate for those interruptions. So there's a blend.
Yes, yes. So my next question is this. So is it that women maybe, as you just kind of may have alluded to, that might need more sleep because of, fragmented sleep or whatnot, or do they just get more sleep and we don't know exactly why? Which way would you lean towards?
I think the really interesting thing about that question is that kind of there's this, is it that we need more or that we create the conditions to get more or we try to get more?
Yes.
The short answer, I believe, is that women may genuinely need more as a group on average. So 20 minutes is not a big difference. I think it's important to note that there's a lot of variation between people in terms of how much sleep they need. There's definitely no one size fits all, kind of everyone needs 7 or 8 hours or something. But with some exceptions, it's actually quite difficult to consistently get more or less than you probably need.
Yes.
So if I need 7 hours overnight, for example, and I were to try and get 9, it's very unlikely I would succeed. Similarly, if I were to try and get 5, I'd start falling asleep on my lunch break at work. So what we need, our brains are actually quite good at trying to recover that. There are some ways that we can get tripped up and start to get much more or much less than we need. But for most healthy adults, it's really difficult for our needs and our choices to depart, if that makes sense.
So, women, they may sleep longer, but many report feeling, I guess, less rested. So what are some of the reasons maybe behind this, where you may be getting enough hours according to, the average, but you just don't feel really good or rested after that sleep?
And wake feeling kind of unrefreshed is a really common thing that women report. So I think what's really interesting about that finding is it tells us that sleep quality and how we feel during the day, our daytime tiredness, there's not kind of a direct relationship there. There are things that can get in the way where we might be sleeping okay but feeling really rubbish. And there's lots of reasons why women may be feeling poorly rested. It could be around too much fragmentation in our sleep, waking up too many times to care for young children. So we might get enough, but it's really kind of poor quality.
Yes.
But we also know during the day what we're doing and how we're feeling. There's some data that on average women are holding more paid and unpaid work at the same time than their male counterparts. We're also more prone to kind of negative thinking styles like worry and rumination, which can be quite taxing. It can cost a lot of our energy and leave us feeling tired and wired is a common thing that women say. There can also be biological factors at play. So women are more likely to have low iron stores and anemia, which can really contribute to feeling tired throughout the day. Or they might have thyroid problems, and there's all sorts of other health conditions that are more common in women that can explain why, even if they're sleeping okay, they're feeling really tired.
Yes. Thanks for explaining. And this whole idea of poor sleep contributing to mental health issues, especially for women, is this a thing?
Yes, definitely. For both, for women and men and all across the gender spectrum, but especially for women, there is this really close two-way relationship between poor sleep and mental health issues. When we talk about mental health issues, we're often talking about feelings of anxiety, so nervousness, trouble switching off, worries, ruminations, irritability. And when we're talking about depression, we're often talking about feeling low or down, tearful, trouble with motivation. We know that if we're not sleeping well, we're much more likely to experience those things. And if we're experiencing those things, we're also much more likely to sleep poorly. And it becomes a very vicious cycle.
Yes. But I also want to get back to the whole idea that, I guess, lifestyle or social roles may affect women and how well they sleep, because, getting, let's say, a man and a woman, getting, let's say, 7 hours equally, but they're not all created equal. Like, especially since you mentioned things like fragmented, sleep, where you have to kind of get up and care for a young one. And I'm sure men and fathers out there, they do it too. But, yes, generally speaking, women tend to do it more, right?
Yeah, and it's a really good point you make. A lot of this data is looking at big groups of people on average.
Yes.
And there's so many individual differences. So in some partnerships, the story could be reversed. It could be that the man needs more sleep and is waking up more to care for somebody overnight. But you know, on average, we do see that women are holding more roles. They often will complain of having a higher mental load, which is this idea of holding lots of balls in the air and driving to work thinking about doctor's appointments for the kids and also upcoming holidays and what they've got to do, say to their boss, and it's so-and-so's birthday and I've got to get all of those things that seem to be kind of always going on in a woman's mind. It does seem to be kind of more commonly reported.
Yes.
By women. That can be really tiring and women can also bring that to bed and kind of have these big kind of worry or mental load episodes before falling asleep. And it might be that they still sleep, but kind of bringing that nervous energy into the night can mean that sleep feels less refreshing.
Yes. And so for our listeners out there, men and women, are there any sleep tips or strategies that you could recommend for people who are struggling with really restful, good quality sleep?
That's a great question. When I think about kind of listeners across the board, one of the things I like to say, which is quite abstract, is really think about the relationship you have with your sleep. If you don't care about it at all, and you're kind of not giving yourself a regular opportunity to get the amount of sleep you need, and you might be drinking too much coffee into the evening and spending a bit too much time on your screen at night time, it's really important to try and value sleep a little bit more. But also, and what I see a lot in my clinical practice, is people who have started to care too much about their sleep and they're trying really hard to get better sleep. They might be buying a lot of products or putting themselves to bed really early before they're actually genuinely sleepy and putting too much effort into their sleep. And the wild thing is that the harder we try with our sleep, often the less successful we are. So for those people, it's often about trying to relax a little bit more around sleep and to trust that it will happen when it does, and kind of get out of the way of sleep happening. So for those people, I would encourage having a good wind down routine to look if there's anything in their day that is going to be interfering with their sleep. So drinking too much caffeine or spending too much time on the screens and not enough time outside. But also it's about kind of spending a few hours in the evening doing something enjoyable and waiting for sleepiness to come instead of kind of fretting about sleep all evening and feeling like they're preparing for a battle overnight.
Yes. And so we have some comments coming in from our listeners saying that, is this real that as a woman, especially during menstruation, when you get your period, it seems like, getting a restful night of sleep might be more difficult. So is that something along the lines of what we've been talking about?
It is, yes. It's a really common finding in the data. There's lots of mixed results, but one of the signals that is coming through is that when women have a sudden decline in those hormones, estrogen and progesterone, we hear people reporting that their sleep feels less restful. They might be more likely to wake at 3 a.m. and not be able to get back to sleep because their mind's ticking over. It's also a really common reason why sleep in the perimenopausal period can be really difficult. Those kind of chaotic fluctuations in those hormones seems to translate for some women to very restless nights.
Well, I want to thank you so much for sharing your data, your research, your expertise on a very important issue, sleep, across the board, but also for women. So thank you for your time today. We do appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Once again, this was Dr. Amelia Scott, and we talked about sleep. Very different from what we covered with Dr. Du in hour number 1. And I hope this information was useful for all of you out there. Yes, even Tommy and Umberto. Yes, I see all your comments, and I know you're kidding, but, she says the data backs it up. Well, we're going to take a song break. This is 잠 못 드는 밤 비는 내리고 by 김건모.
슬픈 노래는 듣고 싶지 않아 내 맘속에 잠들 어떡해 우적한 마음을 달랠 수가 없네 잠도 오지 않는 밤에 이젠 나의 희미한 기억 속에 너는 점점 더 멀어져 가고 너의 슬픈 미소만이 나의 마음속에 가득 남아 흐르고 있어 이렇게 비가 오는 밤이면 너는 나를 더욱 슬퍼지게 해 언제나 즐겨 듣던 그 노래가 내 귓가에 아직 남아있는데 이렇게 비가 오는 밤이면 내 지친 그리움으로 날 만나고 이 비가 그치고 나면 난 너를 찾아 떠나갈 거야 슬픈 노래는 듣고 싶지 않아 내 맘속에 잠들어 있는 네가 다시 나를 찾아와 나는 긴긴 밤을 잠 못 들 것 같아 창밖에 비가 내리면 우두커니 창가에 기대려 앉아 기타를 튕기며 노래를 불렀지 네가 즐겨 듣던 그 노래 두 눈을 감고 잠을 좀 해도 비 오는 소리만 처량해 비 오는 소리에 내 마음 젖었네 잠도 오지 않는 밤에 이젠 나의 희미한 기억 속에 너는 점점 더 멀어져 가고 너의 슬픈 미소만이 나의 마음속에 가득 남아 흐르고 있어 이렇게 비가 오는 밤이면 너는 나를 더욱 슬퍼지게 해 언제나 즐겨 듣던 그 노래가 내 귓가에 아직 남아있는데 이렇게 비가 오는 밤이면 내 지친 그리움으로 날 만나고 이 비가 그치고 나면 난 너를 찾아 떠나갈 거야 이렇게 비가 오는 밤이면 내 지친 그리움으로 날 만나고 이 비가 그치고 나면 난 너를 찾아 떠나갈 거야
Guess who's here? We have Han here. Yay!
Good morning, Wavers.
Oh my gosh.
Hello, team.
피디님 이거 안 잡히죠? 이거. The little.
My little signature, not so great drawing of Jackson the rabbit.
Oh my God, so cute.
It kind of came out as a cat and rabbit hybrid.
Yes,
there it is.
I get it. I feel the love. How are you?
I've been well, but I've missed you guys and missed Morning Wave so much.
We
so
missed you too.
This is such a treat to get to fill in for Vasana. Yeah.
Yes. So I want to ask you about cheating. Not on your partner. But I have to, every time I'm like, but we're talking about cheating like on exams in school. And we've had so many stories even from our listeners saying like, when I was in kindergarten, when I was in like elementary school.
What is there to cheat for in kindergarten, but maybe in Korea? Yeah.
I don't know.
You see, I'm like you. I was too much of a scaredy cat.
Yeah, I was definitely.
Too anxious to actually carry it out. One time I actually planned to. Because, and I was like writing down, kind of making a little cheat sheet. And by making a cheat sheet, I learned it. So I actually was able to.
Yeah, but I've made, like, what was it? The little... I'm having a brain fart right now.
And index cards.
Yeah, index cards.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's been so long. Like index cards, and I would try to memorize all the information.
And then that you learn
kind of
that
seeps
way.
into your brain, right?
Yeah,
yes,
definitely.
And our little birdie, AKA 예지 PD님, 저는 별별 방법으로 커닝했어요. 자랑을 하고 있네요. 손에 적고, 필통에 적고, 물병에 적고. 좀 많이 했네요. 앞자리 어깨 보고, 지우개 적고.
Versatile. Wow.
She is. Wow.
Now, writing the answers on a water bottle, that's pretty original.
No, I've had the displeasure of catching students. But this is college, so it's kind of serious, right? 저 진짜 별별 다 봤어요.
Oh, wow.
I've seen the tiny little, like, I don't even know how they can see it, like the cheat sheet, but it's like scrolled up in
amazing.
Their mechanical pencil. 만년필 안에 그거를.
Do you almost want to give them a little point for the creativity?
I almost wanted to, but then I got to be fair.
Yeah,
and so I had to kick them out of the class.
Of
But
course.
yeah. All right, let's get into Buzz Breakdown.
Okay, so before we get into today's topic, Catherine, are you a fan of late night TV, especially when you were living in the States?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like,
what were your go-to
that was
shows?
like back in the day. It was
Back
like
in
the
the day.
Today Show. I think it was like Jay Leno.
That's right.
And then on CBS, who was it?
David Letterman.
Oh, of course, David
yes.
Letterman. And then after it was like Conan O'Brien.
That's
I went through
right.
the whole like shebang, but like,
Yeah.
is there a reason why we're talking about this?
Yes, because we're going to talk about the issue of Stephen Colbert's The Late Show being canceled recently. I wonder if you guys covered this news.
No.
It was happening in the last week or two. So now, for our listeners who might not be familiar with The Late Show or with Stephen Colbert,
Yes.
it's one of the most popular late-night talk shows in the U.S., and it airs on CBS.
Yes.
And it's hosted by Stephen Colbert, who is, in my opinion, very brilliant comedian and a political satirist. Now, which brings us to our first buzzword.
Yes.
Political satirist.
Yes. So we're going to give the spelling just because it's SATIRIST, satirist, right?
Right.
So what does it mean?
So it's somebody who uses comedy and humor to satire what's going on in our world and sometimes politics, making clever comments about politics, to help people kind of make sense of issues that may be serious in a funnier way.
So in Korean, what would we call this type of person?
정치풍자가.
Yeah.
정치풍자, someone who satires.
Right.
So in, the Western media world, we have people like Jon Stewart of The Daily Show, John Oliver, Trevor Noah. Also, the legendary stand-up comedian George Carlin. He used to have very biting political commentary. And shows like even SNL, they're known for their political sketches. And when it comes to Korea, there are 정치풍자gas, but it's not done as freely or as as unapologetically as it's done in some other countries.
I heard back in the day, I don't know if this is true, like if the comedian kind of resembled, for example, like, the sitting president, he may be on the blacklist or banned for the tenure or of that presidency.
We hear these rumors, and it makes me wonder. But more of those satires are happening in the podcast sphere, I hear, or in webtoons. Now, back to The Late Show. This is a show that began in 2015 when Stephen Colbert took over after the legendary David Letterman.
Yes.
So when you count the years that it was hosted by Letterman, it's a show that's been on air for more than 30 years.
Yes.
And Colbert's version of The Late Show, it became very famous, especially during the Trump years, because he had very sharp and humorous political commentary. Yeah.
So I have a question. Why did this show get canceled? Why is it getting canceled?
So CBS was saying that it's a financial decision, saying that it was simply too expensive to continue the show. Now, there is truth to this because people aren't tuning into late night TV the way they used to.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because there's so many podcasts, right?
Podcasts, and they're watching even the show clips through like other social media platforms. So these legacy shows are losing a lot of money, which brings us to the next buzzword, legacy show.
Legacy.
Yeah.
Oh,
See,
yes.
The word legacy kind of gives it its vibe. It means a long-running, very culturally relevant and iconic program.
Yes, yes. So this is not to be mixed with like legacy media. Legacy media is like TV and radio.
Right.
So legacy show meaning 정말 길게 오랫동안.
Yes, 장수 programs, right?
Yes.
So even shows like 60 Minutes or SNL. And in Korea, we had this TV series called 전원일기.
Oh, I've heard about
that
it.
aired for decades. So I would consider that a legacy show.
Sure, that's a great example. Or like even The Simpsons.
That's right.
That's another one. Yes.
So yes, this is a legacy show being canceled. But a lot of people are saying that this may have been a politically motivated decision because what happened is Colbert recently criticized CBS for paying $16 million in legal settlement to none other than President Trump. Now, that was a case involving 60 Minutes, which is another CBS show. And talking about this settlement, Stephen Colbert called them out, saying that this was, quote, a big fat bribe, unquote. Yes.
I'm sure that didn't go over too well with like the network
because
executives.
The timing was a little tricky here. Just 3 days after Colbert called them out, the parent company Paramount pulled the plug on his show.
Yes.
And I kind of love this expression, pull the plug. Because it really gives you the image, right? Like,
so how would we say that in Korean? How do we say plug in Korean? 그거 이제 뽑는 거예요. 전기선? like
바로
we have one. Like 끝.
뭔가
뽑아요.
선을 뽑다.
네.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it literally gives you the image of unplugging the TV or something like that. So in this case, it means to stop or cancel something very suddenly.
So Haley says 코드 뽑다, 끝을 맺다, and things like that. And by the way, people, while you were talking about the legacy shows, people were like typing away like Grey's Anatomy, 전국 노래자랑. Those are like legacy shows. They keep on going.
Actually, think about how long Morning Wave has been on air. I think you are very much
At least we're on our way.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely. Yay. And so...
Don't pull the plug on us.
No, never.
Yes.
Now, experts are saying that this lawsuit was probably something that the network probably would have won. So it begs the question, was this a move to get the approval of the Trump administration?
Okay.
Because after all, they needed the FCC's approval, which is controlled by the Trump administration, to approve this merger that was happening between Paramount and Skydance. So yes, and the timing just raised a lot of suspicions among fans and even politicians who are speaking up about this.
Yes.
So there's been a lot of reports and just people think pieces on how Colbert might be getting silenced for speaking out.
Interesting. So let's face it. I mean, Colbert himself wasn't shy about calling out. Not just Trump, though. I mean, just any politician, in my opinion. And he wasn't shy about sharing his feelings about the cancellation either, right?
Indeed. So last week, after the announcement, Stephen Colbert came out swinging on the show's monologue, really just speaking up against the decision. And he put it in these terms, the gloves are off.
The gloves are off. I love that phrase.
Yeah, so it comes from the boxing world. So it means when boxers kind of take their gloves off for a bare-knuckled fight.
이제 진짜 싸우자.
진짜로.
Like with
gloves are off.
Yes.
So no more playing nice. It means that he's like ready to fight hard. So yeah, that's where we're at with that situation. And all these other late night talk show hosts, they joined forces and spoke up about this decision as well.
Yes.
And it's tackling a lot of important issues in terms of freedom of speech.
Yes.
And just, the role of comedy and satire.
Yes. So in this era of, Trump 2.0, sensitive. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
But do you have any other buzzwords that you want to share with us?
Yes. So I want to talk about the terms punching up
Punching
and
up.
punching down.
Okay.
Ooh, kind of related to another maybe
Okay.
boxing reference. So it's a term used in social commentary and comedy.
Okay.
And when we say punching up, it means making jokes or criticizing people who are more at a powerful position.
Okay.
So this kind of punching up comedy is seen as more fair and even courageous. Examples like mocking politicians or big corporations. But the opposite of that is punching down, which means joking about or criticizing people that have less power or privilege.
Oh, okay.
So my favorite comedians and satirists, they punch up instead of punching down.
Right, because I don't know can you get behind somebody who punches down?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
like,
just in poor taste.
It's so mid.
Right. Yeah, so mid. So definitely, can we get kind of a recap on all the words today?
Let's do that.
Okay.
So political satirist, in Korean we call that a 정치 풍자가, someone who makes jokes or clever comments about politics.
Sure.
And a legacy show is a long-running, culturally iconic program.
Right.
And pulling the plug, it means to stop or cancel something suddenly. 코드를 뽑다.
Yes.
And the gloves are off, which means I'm ready to fight hard.
Let's
no
do
more
it.
playing nice.
Yes.
And punching up or punching down in comedy.
Well, thank you for going over the latest and what's happening in late night TV, but also all these words that we need to be aware of, right?
Yes.
Well, it was a pleasure having you.
I am so happy. I wish we could go on a little longer, but this is great.
Well, next week.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, let's do it again. Thank you, Haeyeon.
All right, bye-bye.
Everybody, this was Haeyeon. And I know we had so much going on this morning with all the breaking news about the U.S. tariffs. But before we wind down, let's go over some of the details. So South Korea and the U.S. have reached a trade deal as of today, just a couple of hours ago, which include, first up, that reciprocal tariff has been lowered from 25% to 15%. The automobile tariff lowered to 15% as well. No changes to the steel, aluminum, or copper tariffs. South Korea has pledged $350 billion to an investment fund with 90% of the profits going to the U.S. and a $150 billion of the funds earmarked for the shipbuilding industry. Also, President Trump said that South Korea will open its market to U.S. goods with no tariffs on U.S. imports to Korea. But South Korean officials say that there will be no additional market opening for beef and rice. So that is kind of the red line there. President Lee Jae-myung will meet with President Donald Trump in 2 weeks for their first summit at the White House. So definitely tune in tomorrow to get further details. And tomorrow, we're going to have two special interviews. The first one will be on the tariffs, and the next one will be, another one will be on the ICJ climate change ruling that we, briefly touched upon last week. So there's a lot of reasons to tune in tomorrow as well. And I certainly hope that you are all surviving during this peak season. I know some people were texting earlier when we were talking about sleep, how it's really difficult to sleep when we have these tropical nights, when it's really hot at night, when the temperature remains above 25 degrees. So I know fall, 가을, it seems so far away, but yeah. It's coming. But in the meantime, let's stay hydrated and check on each other to make sure, your elderly parents or grandparents are, they're okay. They're not suffering from any type of heat illness. Wishing you the best. Our show produced by Jo Ye-ji. We have our writers, Hey Lisa. Round of applause for her. All the breaking news today, Soo Kim. I'm your host, Catherine. I'll be back tomorrow. Final song is 사랑했나봐 by Yoon Do-hyun. Have a great one. Bye, everybody.
이별은 만남보다 참 쉬운 건가 봐 차갑기만 한 사람 가져간 걸 왜 알지 못하나 보고 싶은 그 사람 사랑했나봐 잊을 수 없나봐 자꾸 생각나 사랑은 못되게 눈 돌리며 외면한 네 모습 모른 척할래 한 번쯤은 난 뒤돌아보며 아파했다 믿을래 바보인가봐 한마디 못하는 잘 지내냐는 그 쉬운 인사도 행복한가봐 여전한 미소는 자꾸만 날 작아지게 만들어 멀어지는 네 모습처럼 언젠가 다른 사람 만나게 되겠지 널 닮은 미소 짓는 하지만 그 사람은 네가 아니라서 왠지 슬플 것 같아
English